In the EXP lane, it's either you're looking for big playmakers or huge sandbags, right? And I think that Royal Milk is the perfect in between the two, especially when you're thinking about BTK.
And of course, it's Chicken. I'm glad that you guys gave Royal Milk his flowers, because I got to talk to other teams and they said, yeah, Royal Milk, this dude is something special. But BTK, they just have something about them that even some of the best teams in the world like sort of forget the fundamentals and just
like BTK. Them go up against Fnatic on whenever Shark would find whoever with that show. I think I've ever seen a team get that in sync when it comes to fights.
You know, the one thing that I think that BTK is quote-unquote lacking, it's a give and take personal opinion on this one. They don't have a quote-unquote pillar. Everybody on the side of Bloodthirsty Kings, they are playmakers at heart, tried and true.
So here's what Mobazane said when we asked him about what he thought about the draw. He said he's happy with it and he can finally get some revenge after MSC. Remember, Falcon Esports, if I'm not mistaken, they were in the same group as Dax and Benny are the two players that he's really looking out for. It's the course of Falcon.
The course of Falcon, interesting. I hope that when we go into the draft, there's going to be a high focus on those hero pools, right? Especially coming into the second phase.
Yeah. Maybe they should watch out for what Shark brings out. 5 games they played so far in Swiss.
Yeah, which with them thinking more about the course, I think both teams, without even realizing it, are actually going to be thinking more about their EXP laner. That one lane that you can win, that one solid foundation for your draft. Speaking of, here it is, game number 1's draft between BTK and Falcon. Falcon has also shown some flexibility leading into this in their matches against Aurora. They showed off that they can play Bane really well up against Twisted Minds. Unfortunately, where they lost, they showed that they can play Hayabusa in the jungle, and they have 1-1 available. More Red Giants in the mid 1-1 bracket. That's where we saw the so a lot of flexibility in the jungle for Falcon.
Oh, hey, talk about flexibility. Give him the power pick.
Benny Bruno! Benny Bruno!
Best in the world.
Yeah, that's his signature Bruno. And you're right, Gideon. There are players all over the world who might even say that Benny is the best Bruno in the world right now.
As far back as 6 months ago, people will swear by Benny's Bruno. He's been making this pop in Myanmar.
You gotta respect what Falcon did there. Also banning out the glue of Fried Chicken. If BTK somehow win this game, that might take the wind out of Falcon's lungs, because that's multiple times over. So BTK, they gotta be ready for this.
I think they want to be ready for this, but I think the approach that Falcons are taking is really intelligent as well, right? Get rid of the glue to make sure that you might have a winning matchup, or maybe even force back. Oh my goodness, the crowd is going wild for Falcons. Slow down the approach of these big playmakers from BTK's side. Play the tempo.
Will Mobazane get his Fredrin is one of the questions. And picking up the Vexana feels like their sort of soft answer to what could be a Fredrin pick in the making.
So far, I don't see any stoppers from Falcon. I was expecting for them to invest in the Aurora. Given how much...
The fact that they're making this hard read, again, you have the high loss, you know they want to play a traditional front to back. If they're going to play Fredrin as well, that...
There's... Who knows what a Bruno could do to a Louis? Memories of Zia's stray ball hitting him from that distance.
Looking at the Phoveus pick though, I kind of appreciate it for the fact that it might already turn off a potential Arlott pick for Fried Chicken, considering that, I mean, you're very familiar with this in MPL Philippines, that Phoveus has like a 90% win rate over an Arlott.
Mechanically just wins.
Yeah, mechanically just wins. It's not impossible, but it's a big possibility. And BTK, historically, when they have a high loss on their side, it goes into the hands of Shark. But of course, not turning off the idea that we might see something like his Gwyn pop up and the more unique roamer picks that he has in his arsenal.
Now, speaking of roamer picks, we're seeing that BTK on the second phase, both Cho and as well as Tigreal, been taken out. So that begs the question whether BTK might just go for another like big pick like Guinevere for Shark once more.
And I love the Guinevere if you're going into a Vexana and Bruno draft, because you can just and then flicker spatial migration into a big thump. So with that said, what can Kid X do? Because they're stretching out Kid X's hero pool here.
I think they still have... Okay, they ban out the Edith. Unless BTK steal away the Gothard, I'm thinking that Falcons might have to dig a little bit deeper in their own pool. I don't see them trying to go for, like, you know, Assassin Styles, the Hellcuts, the Natalias in that support sector just yet.
Yeah, and everything that's anything in this current metagame has been picked, unless you go as deep as a Ruby.
Ooh, that's a good call as well.
Or an Arlott Roam, because again, you're expecting dudes to just come out of diversions. When you see that come in, Final Slash.
Let's see if that's what Falcon might consider. So, as we said, BTK, they're going for their comfort style. Two main figures, while Falcon...
Oh my god.
That is a risky throwback, but Gideon, you like the Alpha and the Minotaur.
Because Falcons are saying, you want to play front to back, let's brawl. We are going all in on this. Everybody's ultimates. I mean, you're looking at BTK, based off of these four, they want to play a chase line up here. And Falcons say, we can fight anywhere. As long as it's a choke point, Minotaur can do some work. We just need Alpha to buy us a little bit of time, if not the Phoveus.
Given the direction that our metagame has evolved, I think Minotaur might be a good stop. Minotaur might be a good checkpoint.
Last time we saw the joy in the XP, it was at M4, and that's very, in that event, man, Falcon and BT back, well, actually,
the M6 Pass is available from the 18th of November to the 29th of December. Level 75 for free and get amazing rewards, including Claude's Battle Emote, Baxia's Battle Emote, special skin Baxia Dauntless Shield, as well as several other things like
or the Prime skin, man. My personal favorite from that pass is definitely the Prime skin, Cosmic Blaze. We haven't seen it just yet in the M6 Swiss stage. Maybe it's still just not the best pick to go for when there's a Granger, when there's Bruno. And on the note of the Bruno, this ain't a random Bruno. You know, this is Benny on the Bruno. I've spoken to multiple pro players. You can see the win already for Benny there, last hitting the Gold Crab. But speaking to a lot of different pro players, they all have like similar opinions. Do not give him the Bruno, because every time you do, especially if he gets to the item power spike, he was, to put it simply, he was carrying on the Bruno before the Bruno was busted.
Yep, so far, Benny has 100% win rate on the Bruno this Swiss stage, so it is undoubtedly a signature. But you could say the same for the opposite side, right? Mobazane still 100% win rate on the Fredrin as well. A comfort pick that the BTK team will always go for, even if it's not necessarily the most meta. From what I've seen, it really allows them to tighten their gameplay, right? Because Mobazane is able to contribute to opening up the map and is able to go more aggressive with a bit more of a safety net.
See the taunt coming down. Dax already very low. Fried Chicken gonna jump into the back line. Mobazane wins up the Red Tree battle. Minions Fury catches two, but Chicken electrifying beats onto Kid X. Royal Milk caught in the Brazers. Rat forced back. Fried Chicken with a double kill, and BTK with the early dub.
BTK, this is the impact really of having Mobazane on this Fredrin.
Whoa.
There, oh, Benny.
Zia Just looking for the... Oh, man. Diversion, glorious pathway. Benny still surviving for a bit, but Hoon deal.
Very different quality to BTK's aggression when Mobazane enabling Fried Chicken to be more of a aggressive enabler in the EXP lane. So it leads a bit closer to the previous meta, but it is something that they are very practiced on and have mastered to a certain extent. However, we certainly cannot count out Falcon Esports. Their ability to scale and respond to aggression towards the mid-game phase needs to be respected. So for the team from NA right now, they want to try and expand this lead as much as possible to set up space for Xia to get these stacks on Granger.
And usually you would say, you know, with a lead like this is great, right? I mean, Falcon is it's going to be tough to come back, but Falcon have always been able to come back. Dax, Spear of Alpha defensively, the diversion was perfect from Hoon. And they get the collapse. It's just so coordinated by the Bloodthirsty Kings. PX7, good Terrify there to stop Mobazane from getting a pick. Probably Chicken. Off top 1v1, popping electrifying beat. Solo kill by Chicken! Is that a killing spree?
BTs have put them through in previous international stages and wants to show the world that they are capable of easily making it into another M-Series knockout stage. You can tell that they are in their comfort zone. The connection, the communication, the timing.
Great Eternal Guard from PX7 there to stop whatever BTK was planning, but they still get the prio, and Zane's on the turtle.
Being able to secure this turtle would help a lot. BTK already on a 3K net worth lead. Falcon Esports, they need this one.
Minas Fury coming down as a retribution. Benny's the one who gets this shot, going to be caught in the midst of it all. White Chicken jumps in with a diversion into the back. And now the electrifying beats will melt PX7. Zane falling down, but it's just Zane. That's Sonata 1 from Xia. That's a flicker from Xia. A Rhapsody, and Chicken will be dancing with the beats.
Ooh, Falcon Esports successfully securing the turtle, but just dropping one by one to a relentless pursuit from the Bloodthirsty Kings. You can really see that there's a little bit of a personal vendetta here. They are really chasing them down, and there's a lot of confidence in their ability to achieve that. The Joy EXP lane, not something that we've seen in a long time, but actually a surprisingly effective position for the hero, since giving her vengeance allows her to be a much bigger threat, especially now that she no longer has that CC immunity that she started off with when she was introduced. You would think that Phoveus would be a bit more effective at dealing with a dash hero, but nowadays, with the revamp that has been added to him, it's actually more difficult for him to stay on top of White Chicken.
Revenge for Royal Milk, perhaps. Chicken Low gets out. Barely there. Good calculation. The Bloodthirsty Kings, it's a bit off, right? I mean, usually when you see a Granger, especially with a Fredrin, you would think that they would play it front to back. But Bloodthirsty Kings are playing front to back with the frontliners not being as tanky as a normal front-to-back composition. They're playing the frontliners as divers. So with the aggression, they're able to get space for Xia to just shoot them down. I think that's a very unique way to play this front-to-back.
Yeah, frontliners as divers actually seems to be the traditional BTK style, right? That's the reason why Mobazane really enjoys these tankier junglers. It enables them to go for the same sort of aggressive stance that you can with a front to back, while also introducing the wild card in the EXP lane as a team fight engager. Because nowadays, we see a lot of heroes like Phoveus or Hylos who can start fights in the EXP lane, but not to the same extent as something like a Joy, for example, right?
Uh-oh. Xia gets a turret down below. Zane will just poke Royal Milk out. Xia's Detonata. That's one. Rhapsody as well. BTK corralling over the turtle.
Dangerous positioning. Fried Chicken in the back line.
Electrifying Beast with Glorious Pathway now to Minas Fury and Eternal Guard. 3 members knocked up. That's another knock-up onto 3. But it does not matter. Xia was free to just gun them down, and he's looking for more. Dax is zoned away, and BTK didn't lose a single member in that skirmish.
Yeah, unfortunately, in the current meta, we are seeing it's just not tanky enough after the more recent nerfs, the HP across the board, and Minotaur not really being that tanky in the first place. Bloodthirsty Kings are just basically surviving all of the initial engagements and then turning it around on Falcon once they've run out of cooldowns.
Now they're rotating up top. The siege from BTK continues. 3 turtles, a 7,000 gold lead at 7 minutes. So far, the Bloodthirsty Kings have been able to actually get Xia into a spot where he's literally just snowballing. And we know the Granger is already a threat, right? I mean, if you're not snowballing, if you're just equally trading and equally scaling with the Granger, stacking up is already going to be a big problem. But now that Xia's 3 kills ahead, and he has so much farm on his name, I wonder how many stacks he has, right? And if it's enough already to get to technically that mid-game, or sorry, late-game power spike for Xia, even though we're in the mid-game.
I don't think it's quite to the late game power spike yet, but he has definitely started to overcome the mid game power spike for Granger, right? So this is a very comfortable position for BTK to be in. Falcon does still have the Bruno, but hold on.
Good punish, but the Vengeance is right there. Fried Chicken will still be able to survive, and actually now gets Numbers Spear of Alpha, but Dax falls. It's a shutdown. Ooh, Betty barely flickering out, almost getting caught by a very low Fredrins of Fraser's Wrath. Still though, 3 for 1. Chicken dies, it's a shutdown. But it's not enough to really get a dub here in terms of trades. And there we have it. 528 stacks at 8 minutes.
Yeah, definitely past the mid-game power spike now. Xia in a very, very comfortable position. And we've already mentioned this beforehand, right? When you're up against a Bruno, your goal is to end the game before the 15-16 minute mark. BTK definitely on that track right now. In fact, it's a 9k goal lead in 9 minutes. 14 kills, only 2. Falcon Esports has a draft that's okay at scaling into the late game, but they're so behind at this point. It is going to take them a miracle to be able to turn things around against BTK, and they're just continuing the pressure!
A full crush connects! Will fall. Chicken dancing in the back. Benny will be able to kite away. That's Sonata, not close enough. Royal Milk body blocking the shots from Xia. They get another kill over. It's Dax and Kid X for Fried Chicken.
Oh boy, we are seeing the reason why teams are respect banning this Fredrin.
Oh, Skypiercer.
Oh, yep, there it is. I really like this timing as well. We saw previously the Granger being played, I believe, by Twisted Minds, going for the Skypiercer very early on to try and build stacks, but this is a better timing where Xia is already in a position to be able to get those stacks easily. The first Lord pushing up top lane usually doesn't do all that much damage, but with the amount of advantage that BTK have under their belt right now, Falcon Esports, their counter engage is not bad, but they're simply not able to dish out enough damage to actually be a threat to BTK. They cannot even survive the initial burst, not to mention deal with Mobazane.
They were slow pushing up top. Oh my god, what a shot! Oh, who gets it with a lethal ignition? Xia constantly just poking him down. Dax in the mid lane, clearing out the wave. The Lord has dealt with one. Chicken trying to look for an angle. Now the Glorious Pathway is placed down. Royal Milk will be forced to flicker out. The Yin reaction ready. Dax still able to clear out the mini waves. Lord taken down up top. And Falcon half defended. But BTK with the first Lord are able to crack a base turret open, and they're looking for more in the mid lane.
Yeah, the higher your lead is with the first Lord, the more damage you can do. And even Fried Chicken being teleported in.
With a diversion, our Vengeance as well gets knocked out with a Minute's Fury, and Chicken should die. Sane though, in the midst of it all, still able to survive. Dashes out the safety, and Xia guns him down. One last Death Sonata earlier. 3-4-1 trade. Who looking for Fried Chicken? And now it's going to be Benny gunned down again. Xia with a Skypiercer. 11 minutes, and BTK take game 1.
Living up to their name, BTK is bloodthirsty for revenge, and they run down Falcon Esports without a shred of mercy. They said they were out for vengeance. They said they were out for payback, and they're showing the world what that payback looks like. A very quick and easy domination using comfort heroes and a surprise Joy EXP lane. I think our panel will have a lot to say about this one, so let's throw it back over.
Falcon Esports look like they just straight up underestimated the power of BTK so far in M6, giving some of the best heroes that BTK has played with so far in this tournament. Dare I say, that draft from Falcon felt a little bit disrespectful. They overestimated their capabilities.
They took no heed to one of BTK's most powerful tools in the playbook, the collapse. No one collapses like BTK. No one does, especially when you put a Louis into Hoon's hands, and that throwback on the Joy, the XP lane Joy, that Fried Chicken just tweaked a bit, threw it from all the way back in M4, made it a lethal XP core here in M6.
I mean, it's an interesting take on what the EXP should be doing, right? Because Joy can get into that backline and nobody can really stop that. But at what cost? Let's look at the item build here, because then it makes a lot more sense. Now, that very first interaction probably was the haymaker coming in from BTK, because Chicken walks away with 2 kills. Once he got that Genius Wand, man, I don't know. As much as I want to believe that Royal Milk should have been able to hold on, the gold league gap was just way too much. That Radiant Armor just came in way too late. You can't protect yourself.
And when you prioritize rush of Phoveus like this, that usually means you're saying, we think our EXP laner can outperform your EXP laner in lane because we can win duels. That's one thing Phoveus is very good at. If he's not winning the duels, then he's a more annoying presence in the team fights, in the front line. But the Joy doesn't care about the front line. Joy here has one job. Activate what you gotta activate, get the Bruno, get the Vexana.
And they never even found themselves in a situation where it's a real honest team fight. It's always either been an ambush or a straight up boss rush tower defense.
Yeah.
Because BTK were so far ahead. We were looking at what, 8 or 9 minutes, and that was 10k gold between these two teams. So with that said, I think Falcon Esports, I'm gonna say now, this early on, respect BTK more in the draft.
They've got to, especially when BTK has the lead. Even when you're looking at the items, right? The fact that you're going Thunderbelt Brute Force Breastplate from Mobazane, you know that he wants to just chill. Mate, get a Guardian Helm, you know? We want to fight. We want to make sure we hold this lead. And I think, unfortunately, for the side of Falcons, it's really difficult because you have to choose. It's either I throw all my spells towards Chicken's side so that he doesn't get into my backline, but then the front line is creeping up on us, and then we are going to get pincered in.
When BTK can get a solid center, it allows them to be flexible and creative with their side lane picks. There's a reason why heading into this draft, we put a lot of focus on Fwy Chicken and what he does for the team in the drafting, and they bring out an EXP lane Joy last pick. What the heck?
I mean, let me expand on this some more. As much as Fwy is able to get into the backline, the question is how? The delivery system specifically from Hoon. They're not sending everybody. It's just Chicken. Sometimes maybe even Mobazane during neutral objectives, but in big team fights, you dump him into that side with 2 stacks, 1 dash, pop it, and then you let Xayah do the cleanup.
And that's what gave Xayah the, what we call in the business, gold. Racking up stacks on the Capri show, and as early as 9 minutes, he was at like 550 stacks.
It's such a great way of playing it. From the micro aspect of the snowball to the item progressions coming in from BTK, I think the Falcons are going to have to rethink the draft coming into game number 2.
yeah.
There's probably a moment in that game where they're thinking, all right, this is a GG go next angle.
Yeah. Minotaur just doesn't cut it anymore. That in itself was very questionable. When you have a heavy front in the Fred, in the high loss plus the low Yi, Minotaur's not going to be the answer.
In Minotaur, last pick, blue 4 and 5, I think that's the equivalent of the Vex 2 and 3. Because I was thinking, hey, they invested so much in this Bruno for Benny, maybe they should have gotten the Aurora as well as a solid stopper. Instead, they went for the Vex, so I'm curious.
100%. And as we look at the MVP in Shark and his high loss 3-0 in 17, when you have your EXP laner playing something a little bit more offensive-minded, it now falls into the hands of the Roamer to be the solid rock and foundation of your lineup. That's what Shark was with this high loss.
I love it because we're seeing another side of BTK where it's not about just, hey, making huge plays, but also thinking of creative angles to get under the skin of your opponents. And now, at least, when I was talking previously, yes, they are playmakers, but they need a pillar. Shark can do both. You need me to make a play? Absolutely. But if you give us something like Hylos, my plays aren't crazy, but I will make sure I will get you over that finish line.
Look at his item choice, ladies and gentlemen. Both built items just tailored to answer Benny. Blade Armor and Dominance Ice. Slow you down and hurt you as you kick them balls in my face. So Shark just does so much, whether it be on the offense or when you're going for re-engages. You'll see it in the... Benny had to spend the flicker here. That's the nail in the coffin for me. As early as the 3-minute mark, I knew that the draft was going to do very little to BTK.
They were just non-stop. Again, bloodthirsty was the performance of BTK, and Falcon Esports just couldn't stop it. Even though they would chain knockups, they chained a great Minoan's Fury and Eternal Guardian over there, but nothing, no follow-up. It just completely got slipped away from their hands after they lost that initial skirmish.
To be fair, I would say that in most other situations, if you're on even gold against your opponent, that would have been enough. But again, there's just not enough influx in the economy to help them do so. Not enough items to make that happen effectively. And I think that at this point, if Falcon Esports were to not look to deny BTK, but instead focus very much on their own playstyle. If we want Benny to carry, sure, but we need a secondary win condition.
Okay, quick hot topic question. A part of me feels like that the draft of Falcon Esports was them leaning way too hard in their individual playstyle. Because when you look at the picks, some of these are a little bit greedy. The Bruno, of course, well, #1 Bruno in the world potentially, as some people would say. The Phoveus, the Vexana. That sounds like them just trying to really pick their best, and they said, yeah, I got this, I got this.
The greatest hits. They just went into their greatest hits without heeding the fact that they're potentially facing off against one of the best team fighting teams in the world. So with that said, I agree. It takes two to tango. And for you to win a game of Mobile Legends Bang Bang, you just what your opponents bring to the table. So if ever we do see a side switch up here, Falcons on red, that should help them do that.
Personally, for me, I think they need to just keep up with the consistent gameplay, especially in that laning phase here. Unfortunately for Benny, the fact that he got chunked out so much went as soon as the timing for Zia hit level 4, pokes him all the way back to his tier 1, then expecting the dive immediately after. I think the consistency from Falcons really needs to come by before they think about their draft.
All right, real quick, I gotta give this to the BTK fans. Yo, BTK fans, make some noise! Every time you're on your desk, you know, there's just something about you that just glistens. It shines, really. Is it something with the wrist? I just don't know what. As we want to say, hey, Luxury meets gaming with Fairy's first M6 Swiss watches, a special jewelry collection for Lucian and Mia, and brand new champion rings and medals. Follow @FairyWorld on TikTok and our website for updates.
Oh, you're talking about this.
Oh yeah, that beautiful watch around your wrist.
Right.
Nah man, it's all facts here. Another fun fact is that Hello Panda, I love it. And we all do. Where is it?
Over here.
Go ahead, finish it, man.
thank
you deserve it. Just go ahead. Yeah. Just gobble it all up. Yeah, that's what Hello Panda turns us into. We love it when Hello Panda can fuel our game. It's crunchy biscuits filled with creamy chocolate, the ultimate snack to keep you energized. That's why Gideon never runs out of energy. It's non-stop. That's why we stayed up until 2, 3 a.m. playing card games last night.
That's right. Level up your day and visit Hello Panda's website for more. Order some, because
Gideon, okay. We good.
You got some more Hell Panda on your side? You got some more. You hiding it from me, brother?
No, I'm not hiding anything from you.
You better not be hiding from me. You know I love that Hell Panda.
he's a fiend.
No, I finished it. There's nothing you can do about that anymore, Gideon. It's all good. It's all good.
All right, look. The way that I am seeing things, sorry, I got to flush that Hello Panda out of my system. I can still see the logos flying across my face. I think that as we go into this upcoming game, right, the consistency needs to be there, because I think that not only did BTK play to their strengths in collapsing, but they really took advantage of any little sign of weakness. Oh, I chunked you out in the lane, instant dive. You give us too much respect and too much space, instant punish. At this point, Falcons, as much as I want to believe that, hey, yeah, they best hits top to bottom, I think they might need to do it one more time. We need to see not only those best hits, but we need to see something that synergizes, that really ties the whole composition together.
Okay, so you want a best hits for the current generation. You don't want to pull something from the 60s, the 70s. You want something that's fresh and new that people can get used to. So
Exactly.
take out the Vex, take out the Minotaur. That's it for me. Like, just work that out.
Yeah. Let's see if we can delve a little bit deeper into the minds of Falcon Esports. We actually have a quote from their coach, Nyo Chao. I believe, hopefully he can allow us to understand Falcon Esports a little bit better with this one. He says, as a representative of Myanmar, Falcon has already won 2 matches from defeating Rora and SRG. Reaching this stage in M6 makes him proud, considering the fact that they've been in the same lineup since 2022. Hopefully the wins over Aurora and SRG hasn't gotten into the heads of Falcon Esports.
Yeah, no, after defeating SRG, they felt Falcon big, right?
Yeah.
After beating Aurora, that put us in this weird situation where now Aurora has to take down Team Liquid ID, so this is their doing.
Yeah.
So they got to dig deep into the playbook, get into the mindset that they were when they got these big dubs,
Exactly.
so that they can, I don't know, qualify, go to game 3. Like, that's the goal right now for them, go to game 3. But how do you do that against BTK, who's literally, even when they're like tables away right now, I think the way Falcon feels right now,
Well, maybe just a little bit because there still is, I mean, good job all throughout the Swiss stage. And the only times that you do see the team composition actually crumble.
Shake down, Hoon.
Yep. Those are great approaches, especially for Falcon. More. When they didn't do that against Twisted Minds,
Oh no. The members, but I personally think they need to start shaking up Hoon here because Hoon. Only times that you do see the team composition actually crumble is when you force Hoon to move out of position.
So shake up and shake down, Hoon.
yep. Those are great approaches of BTK more.
Doing.
Yeah.
So they got to dig deep into the playbook, get into the mindset that they were when they got these big dubs,
Exactly.
so that they can, I don't know, qualify, go to game 3. Like, that's the goal right now for them, go to game 3. But how do you do that against BTK, who's literally, even when they're like tables away right now, I think the way Falcon feels right now, BTK is breathing down their neck.
Well, maybe just a little bit because there still is, I mean, there's not much stakes here. Nobody's going to get eliminated just yet. But I do think that at the very least, hey, let's go back to what works. Dax, let's put you on something that can hard carry this game rather than oppress your enemy. We need you to be able to get into that backline and really start threatening the members. But I personally think they need to start shaking up Hoon here because Hoon has been doing a very good job all throughout the Swiss stage. And the only times that you do see the team composition actually crumble is when you force Hoon to move out of position.
So shake up and shake down, Hoon.
Yep. Those are great approaches, especially for Falcon Esports. Respect the center of the map of BTK more. When they didn't do that against Twisted Minds, they lost. When they needed to recover and defeat SRG, they respected the heck out of Yume's and Stormy's potential pickups, and that's how they were able to get the W there. Let's see if they'll be able to continue that. But first, we gotta hear from members of the crowd there, some very familiar faces from North America.
Hi guys, welcome to the course.
Why Assassin Dave?
Yeah, why not?
Oh yeah, why not Assassin Dave? Assassins are fun, right? You saw the joy? Oh, you know the vibe. You know the vibe. Biggest BDK we've ever seen, so we're excited to be here.
So you think about the main difference between like the BDK in this version and the Valley in M4 and also the BDK in M3?
I mean, just look at the stage. We are not here for like top 4. Even though that's what players say. We're here for the top 1. You better watch out.
You were here for the top 1, yep. So, how's the feeling after watching the game 1, the BDK versus?
I feel like the venue should get more heat here. No, I'm just kidding. We're excited to be here. And then game 1 was really clean. I hope BDK can keep it up and then show us some great 2-0 games.
Okay, we're waiting for the second game. So now let me check the time. According to my fairy watch, it's a good time to start the game 2. So let's give it back to the panel.
Thank you to the lovely Michelle, and of course, it's always great to see Assassin Dave on our official broadcast. Always knows how to bring the hype. Dave, great job. Michelle, great job also. So now we gotta look into this game number 2. Will Falcon heed our advice and respect BTK? Because they need to.
It's not up to us, man. It's down to Coach Nyochao and Coach RC to get into their craniums that BTK are not to be trifled with. Not like that.
They got to warm up here. I think, you know, cold hands, game number 1, that can be a valid excuse for this one.
Yeah.
Coming into game 2, they got to equalize it. If not, I don't know. It's not exactly the best showing, but they need to get into the right mentality. We want to see the hungry Falcons. We don't want to see them just perched up.
As weird as it is, they gotta bring out that dog in them. Dave was right to that level, to that effect that this is their best lineup for the world stage.
Yeah.
Each player, we mentioned earlier, lane by lane individually, they're the best at what they do, and they all have that dog in them. How do we see that in Falcons?
BTK looked locked in. Falcon, in the wins that they had against Aurora and SRG, they looked locked in as well. Actually, no, even against Twisted Minds. Twisted Minds and Falcon was a very long game, and they were on point there as well, even though they took the L. So it's just that's why the first draft was so perplexing to me, and my brain keeps going back to that. So, all right, clean slate, game number 2. So two very clear things that Falcon needs to do. Get Moba Fred out. Get Captain America on something.
Agreed.
else. And respect either a Hoon or a Shark pick more. Yes?
I would say that both are good arguments to respect that pick, but more importantly, the main concept that they've got to control BTK with is tempo. Control their tempo. You know where they're going to rotate. You expect it even to a certain degree.
And here's the draft. We're seeing respect.
There we
on
go.
the Eve, Matilda, and Lo Yi.
Yep.
All right.
There's how you control tempo. In mid, you choose what Shark and Hoon can get, and then you go from there. I think it's easier to play lane from lane.
But, however, this is only the very first phase. Still, Fredrin is not going to be banned, and I think, Falcons, they might have an answer to this. I just don't know in what just yet.
Are they going to throw it way back and just say first pick Fredrin? Come on, we already had like 2.5 years of that.
No, better yet, maybe it's first pick Martis.
I think he even took out the gym. First pick Martis. That's a little bit too far back.
we've had a long reign, long reign of Martis versus Fredrin.
But then also we acknowledge the fact that heading into this, that BTK has a lot of options in terms of compared with that. Other than the Fred, we have the Akai, the Alpha, the Suyos available. But now they're hammering down on the idea of, you know what? I feel like Shark and Hoon are more of the problem for us, so we'll take the high loss instead.
So this opens up the Bruno Gatot.
I mean, not only that, there's also Hilda as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, by the way, fun fact about Shark, he's actually terrified of sharks. He chose this IGN to confront his phobia. Is Shark just the Batman of NA?
I think he is. I mean, he's got the voice for sure.
it's a different universe from Captain America, but it'll work. That is out of order, but it might just be the X factor.
But my
Play
faith
Marvis.
will always protect.
And I mean, BTK and Fried Chicken.
One more time, just to kind of force priority with or without your support helping you out with Concussive Blast.
Vex.
I am the apex of
that
myth
Alpha?
and machine.
All right. So they get the Alpha locked in, which... I mean, they can just build again around that idea of playing for Bruno. And of course,
You should.
Captain America gets it back.
Okay, maybe the idea coming up from Falcons, true damage through the tank.
Yep, just burn him up, right? The Alpha does well. They still need more solutions. What, they throw a Lunox in the gold lane here?
Time and tide wait for no one.
Pretty interesting idea, but up against a Bruno, I
Yeah.
think it scales too slow.
You just hunker down, like I'm gonna have to survive the first 10 minutes.
As timeless
Falcon
as a
are
glacier's
running out of
heart.
options. They chose to prioritize the Vexana over the Beatrix.
What do they see in this Vexana?
Your team
We'll
is
find
banning.
out potentially in this game number 2. BTK takes away the Tigreal, and Falcon are slowly getting into the
Shark, better than first phase here. Better than the first game.
If they're gonna show up a Shark Gwyn pick here, hopefully they can save it for last. Because if Falcon
That could happen. Edith.
for Falcon,
Yeah.
longer team fight, high loss. Yeah.
And then you still go 4-1. You put whatever on Benny.
Problem is, BTK can
for the EXP lane, and right now they don't have many answers to it other than the Vexana. So the laning phase might be a little hard, but BTK now looking to scale?
Okay.
Wow.
So is this clear? Do you go Edith? Because there's no Valentina anymore. I was afraid they can go red 5 Valentina.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, my worry for this is it might actually punish her a bit. Granger, they go
Granger Edith?
range. Okay, so it's just solid already, even though we don't see the last pick. If they go full heavy front line, then Falcon, it might take them a while. If Falcon wins like 2 engagements early on, like a sure win, then that's like the best way. They snowball.
I mean, they don't necessarily even have to interact with BT. Gonna go CC just to try and win out that lane against the glue. It's an interesting take coming in from Falcons. I gotta give them that.
They might be answering solution. They might be bringing up solutions to problems that they see that we don't in the draft. Are they respecting this red 5 pick?
Could be. That's ahead.
Yes, it is.
Oh. Game, if ever it doesn't go well in the early, it does late. Very
The low Yi, the high lows was a bit more prio, but in return,
we will have to see whether or not the Burmese Sky Warriors can dethrone the Kings with Bloodthirst at the forefront in the Land of Dawn. It's going to be game number 2. Falcon Esports on the blue side versus BTK.
might literally clip the wings of the Falcon. And for Falcon, how the Jawhead can work out, right? What's the weakness of the Fredrin in this meta? I would say it's clear speed. You pick up the Jawhead, and I don't know about the clear speed anymore, right? Like Shark on the concussive blast here, and he's actually matching up with Dax on the Alpha.
Yeah, that Jawhead really provides a Fredrin with a lot of assistance in the jungle. And because nowadays you don't see quite as much jungle invasion at level 1 and 2 anymore, you're not really going to see anyone try and mess with the Jawhead, providing that leashing anyway too, right? So it provides a very effective way of helping speed up Mobazane against a jungle. Going for a very mobile.
I don't know if that was intentional by Zain, but it's terrible with the yo-yos. White Chicken with a split again. It's a 2 for 2 at the end.
Good for BTKs to start off. There was actually some impressive microplay, especially. Oh, Benny.
Rhapsody, one last shot. Zia still wants to stay for minions. Benny's waiting on the last Death Sonata. Not able to get it in time.
Yeah, now demonic energy, but Dax securing the turtle.
Great turtle take. It'll be traded with for Turtle. Dax still have an XP lead. But Zain walks up. They're just going to steal that camp away. And Shark, I believe. No, it's Zain. Was it Shark? Was it Zain who got it? I think it was Shark.
On BTK, right? They're still trying to play as aggressively as before, but without a mid laner that's able to match up to that pressure, they are lacking just a little bit of DPS to really finish off Falcon in some of these extended skirmishes, right? Game 1. End the game by the 5th.
By just constantly ganking and putting pressure on, onto words the Bruno. No. This game, I think we don't see as much attention when Chicken actually gets
have a composition that is way better, towards that early to mid game scaling. Just have watches to try and end the game early.
No Purify on PX7. Smart missiles. Oh, great Terrified. Mo was able to embrace this wrap. PX7 trying to go for a little bit of a dodge there. Oh! Zain still gets it with the enhanced attack. I thought he missed the skill 1. Concealed from Shark. Zain will sacrifice himself. Walking up, but Shark will fall too. The sacrifice
knows that they cannot afford to let
Dax with the respect as well. Taking it away, and now, oh, Royal Milk. Oh, that damage! Royal Milk has just soloed Mobazane in esports.
Falcon and ending the game before Zia and Hoon have a chance to come on a line. But the Bruno and Cecilion so far have not been killed once in their farming, and then the game should go.
The Bruno 100% win rate in game 1 destroyed. Now we're seeing possibly MOBA Fred's Fredrin 100% taken away by Falcon. That would definitely be poetic, right? BTK taking away the 100% from Benny, and then Falcon returning. And you could just see in the draft, we were talking about it, you know, criticizing, Fredrin, Bruno, leaving it both to BTK. It was a risky move, but they played their cards well. They knew how to deal with it. The CC pick turns out to be the way to do it. And with the CC here being so free in the team fights, they decided to go Flicker. Now, they don't even need the extra sustain from the Vengeance, doesn't even need the extra sustain from, or maybe just even the mobility from Sprint. It's all about the Flickers, just blinking in, getting damage, and then getting out.
Yeah, no reason to have to go Vengeance here, right? This CC was specifically picked towards the end of the draft, and by that time, Falcon Esports had already seen most of the DPS options that BTK had. Especially, this is TK, the chance of the fans in the audience signaling the potential death toll.
Crazy how loud the fans are. It's phenomenal. MY, I thought MY stands for Malaysia, man. Honestly, game 2. Warax. Oh, Benny's built. Benny's ready.
Not even going for the Sky Piercer, actually, just straight up building into damage. White Chicken as well, and we can see that if being lead between the gold laners. Lord pushing in, it's only the first.
White Chicken, Mobazane gets ejected back. That's a retribution from Mobazane only onto the minion waves. The Lord will be able to get the first base turret in the mid lane. BTK dealing with the rest of the waves. Falcon Esports with the first Lord. A base turret take is already crazy value, but they're not happy with just one. They're setting up the waves for another siege.
Falcon Esports are well aware that the next Lord is probably the last chance they can get to really push in and end before Hoon starts building up genuine stacks. The Death Sonata is doing a lot of poke damage.
KidX zoning them in the back. Mobazane isolated. Curtain call. Oh, KidX brought back into the Fountain Shark. Flickering back. White Chicken with the slam pass by the Royal Milk. Dodges away from it. Benny mounted up. Back again. Sia together with Hoon finds the kill. A 2-for-1 trade. But Falcon Esports, they got the 2 base turrets, and they are happy with that now. With that trade, they back away.
Falcon Esports are still in a very, very comfortable position, but the next Lord is basically their time limit for ending the game. Bloodthirsty Kings being able to find some pickups there, and even giving Zia and Hoon their first kills of the game respectively is going to help them start building up that potential they need to start holding on to the base defense, right? They're very good at counter-engaging against sieges. Zhoon, we can see, already has those 200 stacks on the Sicilian.
That's pretty low, right?
Still a bit low, actually, yes. So, Falcon actually may have more time than we expected.
They have a lot of time. We were talking about maybe, 14-minute onwards that the power spike might hit, but seeing how behind Hoon is on stacks, I feel like even 14 minutes is not really going to cut it, right? Like,
yeah.
Falcon actually have a lot of time.
Has reached the peak of his DPS potential. The 15-4 base defense here, especially with Falcon effectively pushing and sinking every wave on the map.
Let's see, we'll go for the base to equalize it. And we're
efforts, BTK not able to hold the crystal up, and the Burmese Sky War opponents making sure that there is no chance for them to reach the scaling necessary to counteract. Yet again, we are going to a full series where a single game will determine which team moves on into the M6 knockout stages.
We're looking for Falcon Esports' playstyle. We were looking for their signature game. PX7 just says, give me the Vexana.
Yeah, game number 1, they were overwhelmed. Game number 2, when things were a little 7 is. Officially now, Falcon Esports has delivered the very first loss. Mobazane was 4-0. Falcon Esports.
I mean, look at these items, man. A lot of it just comes down to how ahead can you find your side laners. And in this case, Royal Milk did a good job because not only did he chunk out Flight at level 1, from that point onwards, once he got both the Brute Force Breastplate on top of that War Axe, even Zayn, who didn't find that initial snowball, and a lot of collapses coming out specifically from Falcon. Maybe it was just this high loss pick that really stopped them in the first place. You can't disengage from it, you can't walk away from it.
Yeah, Kid X, Dax, Royal Milk, it looked like they both, and even the Eternal Guard of the Vexana, all did a great job of messing up the backline of BTK. Where, of course, when you have White Chicken going forward, Mobazane as well, Shark, Hoon, and Zia, if they have all the room in the world, they will deal all the damage in the world. But Falcon, MLBB, where after level 4, majority of Grangers should defeat Bruno in lane once they both hit that level 4 mark, and that's exactly what Benny did.
And that puts BTK in such a forced Shark on the Jawhead, forced Hoon onto the Sicilian, and that allowed for Falcon to move a little more freely, compromise those side lanes, again, win with the Granger in the side, up until at least the Bruno gets the inevitable power spikes.
I have to agree with that as well. I think, the biggest mistake coming in from BTK's side is, hey, you need to make a decision on which lane you want to win. As much as you have a lot of faith in Xia, his builds in terms of emblems alone, if you wanted to win lane even, or at least try to win it pre-level 4, you look for Master Assassin. But he respects it because Xia did the exact same thing to Benny in game number 1. So I think at that point, BTK needed to make a choice because right now, based on what we've seen in this game, Shark on this Jawhead after that first turtle, null and void.
And it's that choice that Falcon Esports forced BTK to make. Actually, counterintuitive, there's no good choices for BTK to make, especially in the small frame of time that they were working with. As early as in all of M6 yet. I'm gonna call it the Burmese Python playstyle. They used the Hylos to lay down a back line from BTK to not cross over. Kid X was very good at doing that. And then suddenly you would see Royal Milk crossing over, forcing BTK to back off, and that compromises that strong backline that BTK has. Everything else just follows. That's just what made the defense hard for BTK, because underneath turrets, this Burmese Python playstyle really doesn't shine as much because you have turrets hitting you. But once that final push came in, that final siege, they figured that out with the right tempo and bursting down what was left of BTK in that final fight. It made more sense. I want to see more of this in Game 3.
Yeah, you have to respect what Falcon did here. Game number 1, we doubted what...
Not only thinking about survivability, but he's actually getting a good amount of CDR, not only from the War Axe, but also the Endless Battle, which not a lot of Granger players actually opt to go for. Because again, you're waiting for the full Rhapsody to end before you get the Empowered Auto.
He's weaving in those basics, and that's what makes Benny the bite in the Burmese Python playstyle. What they were doing, that weaving in, is the one in the middle making BTK out of frontliners, running out of options, and then next thing you know,
old lane first, that forced set that up to try and trade the tower up first. But since Benny was let out of lane, they could go as a full 5-man to counter the BTK engagements, and after that, everything just turned around in favor of Falcon Esports.
Oh, it's tough. It's in game number 1, but game number 2, the Falcons Esports, they're here to play. And I think that coming in...
We find ourselves here, one game. After all of the BO1s we have, we default, go back into the best of one. One game to secure that next knockout spot. And it's arguably one of the best Brunos in the world. Bleed and the lineup around that. Game number 2, Falcons showed that Captain America and his shield isn't unbreakable. They deliver the first loss on the Fredrin. The best of BTK's qualities, no, here, they played their greatest hits for that game number 2, but then Falcon answered that with their own unique EXP lane pick as well. I call CC unique because we don't see her a lot. So the question is that now going to be something looming over each of these two teams' heads? That CC is active and has proven to be great against lineups that are too front heavy and rely a lot on a solid backline.
I don't disagree with it. I do think that, yes, there is some logic to it. However, it does come at a little bit of a cost. Because let's say that level 1 didn't happen the way that it did, and Fwide was able to hit level 2, call a little bit of help from Shark to create a scenario where he could leave the lane first. I think it would have been a very different scenario at that point of time. So it just goes to show that as much as the EXP is highly...
lane situation, Game 3, XP lane is now a legit threat.
It's unlocking the right lanes and taking a lot of focus and taking care of your laning phase. Now that we find ourselves back into a very familiar scenario,
they like leaning in for, and most importantly, who are the standout players? Who's going to be consistent?
Short answer is no.
No. The new level of scenario for MLBB Esports and
Advisors, or do you meat to it?
Yeah. So let's see. Again, one game, one win. Onyx Philippines, and excuse me, can you help me jog my memory? I am blank from
NIP Flash.
NIP Flash. Yep. So, Falcon, are you gonna default and go back into that Vex?
I feel like they might do it one more time, but that's on the assumption that they're on blue side once again. Early Cho pick. But like, I felt like in this game, BTK are putting themselves in a position where it's like, hey, if it works, don't fix it, right? They had a couple of good ideas when it came down to the
Hayabusa and the Fanny, or you take care of those kinds of factors. PX7's Vexana is not a problem.
So now let's see who will respect whom. Which power picks will get locked in, which comfort picks will make a difference. And one last question for the first pick, but first
phase.
Last phase.
Oh.
Yep. I think definitely last phase is going to be more important. This high loss has been quite a problem. Personally, for me, I was thinking maybe like BTK might just go straight into the flex pick Cho instead of the high loss, but
Falcon's aggressive 2 bans onto the mid laners, so the Loyi, the Eve, and of course BTK taking away the Juicen. The high loss is set up for success.
Yep, it's a C. And with a game 2 in the middle of that too, like you can't forget a lesson that quickly.
yeah, very true, very true. Right? There's a good chance that they're thinking, hey, all right, if they're going to replay this composition one more time, could we dig even deeper into our pockets to whip out something more interesting?
Will it be Fred? Will it be Suyo? Will it be Alpha? Still the Fredrin, of course, for BTK, and they get the Granger. So right now, they've built up a strong front, and they're going to be saving the Fried Chicken's pick for the later phase, while the mid laner, Rahun, is still up in the air, and I think that's what Falcon might consider banning. Valentina, Sicilian ban. You know, banning 2 of any of those 3 might be just a little bit too much. They're going to have to pick their poison.
Yeah, they're definitely going to have to pick their poison. And I think as long as it doesn't have some form of way to keep up with the rest of the team, because you've already got the Glorious Pathway. That's going to be the extra movement speed is going to help you kind of close that distance, but at the same time doesn't have self-peel. And that's something that was missing from the previous game when Hoon was on that Sicilian. There's an optimal distance that you want to be at.
Finally, Falcons get their hand on Kid X's signature pick. The Tigreal was banned with a vengeance in game 1.
Ooh, okay.
And 2.
You know, since he got it, very good. But now I'm Tina and the Aurora ban might actually be okay. It might not be too greedy considering that you have a Tig and a Phoveus.
For sure the Valentina.
Yeah.
Your team is
Maybe both.
Yeah, they might just lean into both, depending on the next bans here for BTK. Because giving a Tig ult to the BTK's lineup now might be equally terrifying. If Falcon don't
Again. Call it now.
I mean, Alpha, Tig, very early to mid.
Yep. So that does leave the Valentina.
Oh, high loss is coming at me. I can at least push you back, and if you know Mobazane happens to be standing behind you, I don't mind the extra bit of time.
They're asking for the Bruno.
It needs to be. They just really have a team fight. I know they're just gonna, unless.
It's a Joy again.
Okay, they go back to the Joy for Fried Chicken, and there's the Valentina, as we said, for Hoon. It's lineup of BTK.
Side replay game number 1, except better, less mistakes.
A little bit more chances of being able to flank. Formation, game number 3, it's Falcon and BTK!
A single best of 1 now separates both the in the final day of the M6 Swiss stages. My name is once again Staffa, joined by Mirko to bring you game 3. Very intense series.
Oh man. Again, it's back to a best of
Heavy emphasis on damage. Heavy emphasis on damage for the Falcon Esports. Side with that Master Assassin on Benny, as well as the penetration.
much more.
And because it was impossible to out-retry him. That health threshold has been nerfed, but sorry.
Like to find beats over the Dax. Not enough damage to actually zone anyone away. Kid X flickering in front. Getting the implosion. Who do with the same, but it's only Insane, still sustaining. Royal Milk going inside. Jumps in one more time. Shrek gets the stun down. Mobazane is trying desperately to keep him alive as Dax, the Vengeance, going onto Dax. But look, Insane able to kite away. Sia joins in the team and picks up a double.
Ooh, it's personal. Between these two teams here, an extended fight around the turtle and then extended into the purple buff. It's really hard to say which team actually came out on top in that one because it did end up being very scrappy.
One more ball. Benny gets the kill, punishing Zia for rotating. You stay in my lane.
Falcon Esports now starting to recognize the habits of BTK a little bit more and understanding that this is not an opponent that you can give map control over to. It is time to take your foot off of the brake pedal. It is go. You have a Tigreal Vexana mid duo. It is so good at countering rotations. As long as you're able to keep track of where BTK is, Falcon Esports can stop them from being able to regroup at any point in the game.
That was a good hold by Shark, though. It could have been way more punishable by Benny had Shark not held the wave. But luckily for Zia, he gets the 2 kills, gets taken out still, but he's able to actually still get the XP and gold from the minion waves. Chicken up top, this is a different story this time around. Royal Milk, actually, you still deal a lot of damage with all your other skills. And to heroes, it wasn't really nerfed, it was only the objective damage.
It gives you a lot of utility, this hero, still, because of the number of skills he has available in his arsenal. The Hunter Strike already completed. Dax should be able to start rotating around along with Kid X and PX7 to really dish out burst damage. And that's going to be good, right? Falcon Esports, the more advantage they can get, the slower they can force the BTK members into playing. And when they have a Granger on their side, they're really trying to upscale that mid-game momentum.
Hoon has Eternal Guard, will be poked down by Penny. Implosion from Kid X onto 2 Dax, finding the Retribution onto him. Mobazane jumping in the back line, so will Chicken with the electrifying beats. Now able to push out some damage though. Zia trying to kind of wave a Royal Milk is dismantling the back line of BTK. Dax with the soul, sever slashes. Hoon will be able to escape. Dax go for the stun. Hoon barely getting out, but Falcon Esports got the dub everywhere in that fight.
The bird they operate, they are punishing BTK for very tight front lines, playing around Mobazane on this Fredrin. The Tigreal has always been a concern for BTK's exact style of gameplay, which is why they have been banning it out consistently against a player like Kid X, but it slipped through the cracks this time, and you can see how effective he is being with that timing. He's not using it to force battles. He knows that BTK, they've got those trigger fingers, you know, they're gonna want to start things themselves, and that is when he can jump on them and strike.
Falcon Esports, this is a very different Falcon Esports from Game 1. Despite the same draft almost from BTK, Benny is not 0-2 on the Bruno. He's 1-0. He is scaling up to be a monster. Already almost Berserker's Fury at the 6-minute mark will be given the space by Kid X to get the turret up top. Level 9, a level ahead of Zia already. And we know how lethal Benny on the Bruno can be. Zia will be able to get a trade down below though, but as we were talking about, Benny gets that Berserker's Fury.
Berserker's Fury, 2 items completed in 6.5 minutes. This is a huge problem now for BTK. We already know Bruno, he accelerates the game, right? You want to end it before, hold on.
Check in with a vengeance, able to kind of wait for now. Kid X will be chain CC and Hoon gets the pick off.
BTK really needing to find some sort of punish there. The ideal would have been a kill on Benny, but removing Kid X for another 10 seconds is actually BTK the more comfortably positioned, but look at Benny's damage already.
Ridiculous damage. Royal Milk going in. Benny putting some damage down onto Shark again, and Falcon Esports, they were able to buy enough time. Kid X is spawned back in the game. White Chicken looking for the back line, will be going on the BX7 with electrifying beats. Mobazane chain sees him. Dax gets the turtle though. BTK still caught in the fight. That's a purified from Zia. Kid X finds an implosion. 2 members caught in the implosion. Zane brought back again, and that will be Zane trying to run away, but you cannot run away from the infernal pursuit. Benny continues with the siege, and it is a win by Falcon Esports again.
With the talons of a falcon and the eyes of a hawk, the Burmese representatives with their eye on the prize the entire time. Fried Chicken in the backline does not matter. Losing PX7 just a trifle because they get the turtle and they're able to surround BTK immediately. They have way more punishing power over time.
Check in with a vengeance. Benny assassinated in the back. Kid X dealt with as well. A bit of an overstay from
Going to be a threat to Benny as long as he's not minding his position, and in that case they were definitely pushed up a little bit too far. Not really respecting BTK after their previous battle wins. Even a flicker now forced out from Royal Milk. Falcon, they still have the gold lead, they still have the tower advantage, and Benny is farming well, but that kill is going to stifle that speed a little bit and give BTK a bit more breathing room.
Man, you forget about it. You just, when you see a lot of these fights go in Falcon Esports' way, you completely forget the damage that Chicken can do when he's on Vengeance and electrifying beats to a marksman. And I guess we were reminded of that. Benny won't make the same mistake twice. Dax, though, however, will try to ensure that that mistake doesn't happen twice. If he's able to poke down Zia and the rest of the members constantly with the arrows, yeah, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, we have to note, White Chicken focusing on PX7 and Benny in most of these fights, it means that Dax is actually going by unchecked a lot of the time, right? The frontliners of BTK are not actually too well equipped for handling Asuyo with his max HP damage, and because of that, he's actually able to whittle down Shark and Mobazane quite efficiently.
Oh, man.
Even Zia having a hard time finding safe positioning, especially since Benny just completed that Malefic gun.
Oh, that's painful. And the thing is, that was literally just Dax with Royal Milk skill 2. That's it. No Curse Blast, no Benny with the footballs there. I don't know. If Benny gets a crit plus the combo early to take him down,
I think it actually would have
Right?
been, right? Since he just finished Malefic gun right before that.
You see that damage onto minions?
As Bruno builds up, the heavier his balls become, I feel like. That's basically what's occurring with Bruno
got heavy
as he
balls.
gets more farm. It goes up to like bowling balls, then to cannonballs. I don't really know what the ultimate is because you usually don't live that long anyway. But Falcon Esports are now playing the slow game, trying to bait BTK out of safety so that they can get a better opportunity for Benny to start melting them down.
Good poke, Royal Milk stunned up again. Mobazane trying to put the poke, Kid X! Going with the implosion, but only onto Mobazane. The Eternal Guard comes in as well. That's going to be Hoon potting some damage. Mobazane taken down. White Chicken looking for the fight. Will be stunned. CC. White Chicken will fall. Royal Milk gets his shot. Is burning down. But he survives. Free Lord to Falcon Esports. There is absolutely no chance for the Bloodthirsty Kings to contest.
Of the implosion only caught Mobazane. But when you're in a Lord dance, the enemy jungler is always going to be the best target you can go for regardless. And there is no way he is surviving. Both Dax and Ben farmed up. And then after that, being able to land the...
Right, that Rose Gold Meteor already. Zia is not dealing enough damage to actually threaten anyone just yet from Falcon Esports. He needs to find the... He needs to thread the needle. He needs to get onto PX7. Looking for the taunt over to Royal. They can't go for the punish. Oh, Worldy, that's the bounce. Taking almost half HP. Base turret number 1 in the mid lane falling down. It's tier 2 dealt with by Dax in the bottom. All while we're talking about it. Zia going for the Detonata over to PX7. Hoon trying to push out some damage again onto Kid X, but the base turret will fall again. Royal Milk walking up. Glorious pathway from Shark. Looking for a moment, but will not be able to find it. Dax in the mid lane will just blink away, and Falcon Esports have dealt.
See that, Falcons, everything is going exactly to plan. BTK, I like the discipline they showed earlier, and it's clear they're keeping track of the flicker timing on Kid X as well, because they were willing to group up to melt down the Lord without worrying about that potential flicker implosion combo. So it's very important that they know the timing on this battle spell because it has been their undoing in almost every single fight. But we have reached the stage of the game where if you are not ending against a Bruno, you are in a lot of trouble.
It's the kite back now as Shark pops in to revitalize. No Chicken. Benny. That seconds for this enhanced Lord.
It is the perfect... Oh, they scale so well into the late game with the Bruno and the Vexana. BTK are they're relying on Zia and maybe White Chicken being able to find the angle right now, but what can they even do here?
They're very low, but it's not low enough to actually threaten anyone. And you could see the crazy zoning from Kid X just standing there menacingly, stopping Zane. You shall not pass.
It may be a kid, but he is a terrifying one right now. As BTK, there is no way for them to break through. The only ideal situation is somehow Shark slows them down when they overcommit, and then Fried Chicken goes in and melts their backline. There is no other way to disrupt Falcon Esports. Their lineup is honest, it's simple, but it works, and they have the right options, and they're gonna try and end this right now.
They'll get the bottom lane base turret. Kid X still with the immortality already. Mobazane looking for a bit of damage, looking to go for the taunt. Fried Chicken will go in with the vengeance and the electrifying beats onto the minion waves and onto the Lord. Kid X getting the implosion down! Gets it! A big implosion, not enough to take anyone down though. No one was there to follow it up. Shark looking for a qualify to the knockout stages.
They may be Falcons, but they are embodying the spirit of vultures as they circle their prey from above, just waiting. Denied the knockout stages.
Falcon Esports with a reverse sweep again.
Let's go ahead and throw it back to the panel. I'm sure they'll have a lot to tell us because this was a great one.
Me and Mark can now confidently say they are a top 8 team as they make it to the knockouts, taking BTK in 3. Congratulations to Falcon Esports. What a game. And now they have made the best strategy of BTK bleed back to back with their own comfort. Turns out Vexana was the answer all along.
We had to question it, and they had to take it through the ringer. Game 1, not just the Vexana, even the Phoveus. And I think BTK were onto something. Taking away the Tigreal from Kid X was important to making this Game 3 victory happen. But that aside, Benny's Bruno still a known quantity.
It is a known quantity, but it just goes to show. Game 1, they may have underestimated. Let them snowball it. Don't worry. I'm pretty sure their coach told
in English, probably.
That's right.
Maybe a bit of Filipino. But yeah, Falcon Esports definitely look like they learned a lot from their game number 1 experience, respecting the movements of BTK. They even let the Joy through, and I gotta say, one of the biggest reasons why BTK won in that first game.
Oh yeah, and again, to build on one of Gideon's points is the shock value added onto the layers of Falcon Esports playing a little sloppy. That was the game 1 story, but after that, game 2, game 3, they tidied up and they got all but theirs.
Yep, just equalize those side lanes. That's all they have to do. We come out of the laning phase healthy, clean, and at the same level, you'll be fine after that.
It really looks like Falcon Esports have solved one of the things that other teams failed to solve against BTK. Focus on the mid. Shark, Hoon, if you could get a winning matchup over them, it seems like things go well for your team.